Hi Dave, how did you start in the mortgage industry?
Started in the industry about 19 years ago, working in travel for a couple of years. I like travel, it just wasn't quite what I was looking for. So I saw an advert for a mortgage advisor at a small local building society. It was a minute's walk from my house, which was fantastic. So I applied and got the job, loved it. And obviously I've gone on from there from, 19 years, various banks, various building societies, and I've now been at Lyft for nearly 10 years.
Have you got any funny stories from when you first started off?
Well, I have actually. My first ever interview, so I'd done the training, let's say it was 6 or 8 weeks. I've been sent to the head office, I'd met the teams of the underwriters, and I came back to our branch. And my boss said, right, we're going to do your first ever observed interview. We booked someone in, and I had like half an hour to plan for it. And he gave me a huge tick list. And it's obviously all the compliance tick list you had to go through, give your business card, explain who you are. And there was pages of it. So I was quite nervous, wasn't massively confident in the system. So it's quite nerve wracking. So the clients came in, I could see them in the reception. He said, right, they're here. And I said, is there anything you really need me to say other than the tick list? He goes, whatever happened, point out it's raining. And to be fair, it was raining. I said, are you joking? He said, no, just tell them it's raining. Okay. It probably took an hour and a half for what should have taken 30 minutes. It's just so nervous doing it. The clients, well, thank you for your time. We're just going to process the paperwork while you're here, because that's kind of what you did at the time. And they waited. And he was sort of nudging me and looking at me. And I said, oh, look, it's raining outside. And the clients went, oh no. And my boss stepped in and said, have you got coats? And they said, no, we've got nothing. We've just come as we are. And he said, are you parked over the other side of town? They're like, yeah, we are. We're going to get wet. And he said, don't worry, I've got an idea. And he opened up what had always been branded as the stationery cupboard. And I just believed there was forms in there. And he turned it into what he called Aladdin's cave. And he had loads of items in there. And he had some Pack-A-Macs. And he said to them, don't worry, I've got some Macs I could sell you. And the clients looked a bit shocked, but they realised it was quite a good idea. So they ended up buying these Macs off of him, and he had tons of stuff in there. He had umbrellas, he had everything you could think of. He basically said, well, you've done a great job, thanks very much. And I said, well, have I passed? He went, oh yeah. He goes, you've passed. But the best thing was I got 4 sales out of it, because he sold some Macs to the kids as well. And I remember thinking, what am I doing here? And it was kind of an unrunning joke. He'd always open up as Aladdin's cave when everyone came in. What a guy, learned loads from him, but it was great fun along the way as well.
That's brilliant. Thanks, Dave. What have you seen change over the time?
I think the biggest changes to me, it's been 19 years. The biggest changes really have just been, I think things are a lot slicker now. When I did my first ever mortgage that, we talked about a minute ago, we got the client's paperwork, we had to process it on the spot. So it took us half an hour. So a mortgage interview would take two and a bit hours. We had to post it to our head office in a secure mail. That would take a day. They would then come back to you 3 or 4 days later. If they've got questions, you then go back to the client, and it could take 3 or 4 weeks. And the thing these days, clients quite often say to me, I cannot believe how quick it's been. We've turned mortgage offers round in 45 minutes from the time we've met the client and got the paperwork to the point where they've got the offer. They're not all like that, of course, but sometimes the lender doesn't want a survey. Sometimes they don't need to do any checks other than just confirm the income. It's just amazingly quick. So I think technology's taken over. And the last 18 months since the pandemic, lenders have just moved forward light years, probably 10 years worth of transformation in 18 months. And most lenders are so slick these days. It makes us look really good, which obviously I love, but that just helps us to get so much more efficient, and we can deal with more clients and we can deal with them better.
So what would you say, Dave, makes a good mortgage broker?
I think for me personally, it's all about thinking about your clients' needs. I talk to the clients, when you get to know clients over time, they become like your friends in many ways. You still got that professional relationship, but they tell you everything about their life. And I actually sit down, I try and analyse it, and I think, what would I do in your situation? I've got one golden rule, and I'll never break this rule. And I tell it to my team and the young people in my team that are trying to learn. It's a non-negotiable for me, is put yourself in their shoes and do what you think is right. And I think as a business and as an advisor, I could earn more money if we just did what the clients wanted. But when I know it's wrong, or when I know there's obvious flaws in their plan, I will literally try and talk them out of it to the point where they're probably sick of talking about it. But my job is to do the best for them. I treat every mortgage like it's my own. So I think the first thing you've got to do always is just take pride in it. People are trusting me with their finances. It still blows my mind. I can be looking after 100, 120 people at any one time. And these people are trusting me to do a good job for them, and I don't want to let them down. So, you've got to do the right job at all points and make sure the advice is absolutely spot on. You can't talk to the clients enough. You can't fact find them enough. Those kind of things. It's great to have all that information before you're making a product choice. I think also it's just that human touch. The clients tell us about their life. They tell us what's going on. It's quite a personal relationship in many ways. It's different maybe when I did wealth and pensions in the past. Mortgages is very personal to them, and you hear all their details. And it's just treating them with respect and learning what the client wants, the type of person they are, and how they want to be dealt with. And I think once you nail that relationship with the client, They love you, they'll come back to you and they'll recommend you. And that's the kind of key thing brokers are always looking for, really.
How have you seen Lift Mortgages grow over the years?
This mortgage is nearly 10 years old now. I started on day one. My boss said to me, can you sort of get mortgages up and running, run it for 3 months and we'll see how it goes. And I wasn't that keen at the time, although I've been in mortgages forever. And at that time it was me and a lady called Jo, who was fantastic, my admin. And we went out in the world and just, tried to talk to people about mortgages, and we weren't really known by anyone. A lot of the lenders didn't know us, getting access to some of the lenders. It was quite tricky in the early days. And bit by bit, just through hard work and doing a good job and all the principles that we talked about, ensure you do the right thing for the client. We've now grown to a team of 10, so-called smaller broker. We're doing well above our level of lending. Our average case size is above most other brokers. We're just doing the right things. We're just making sure that everything we do with a client is slick. I want every client to walk away and go, that was a good experience. And that's my key driver. I think for us, it's just been about getting good people in. We take a lot of young people and we train them, because I think sometimes people come to you with preconceived ideas how mortgages should work. And if we get them in and train them, we can get them exactly how we want. So we've grown the business from me and Jo really in the early days up to 10 people now. And I still think there's room for growth from there, just really by recommendations from clients, doing a good job and just growing our name in the industry.
So what are you looking forward to in the future then?
I think from my point of view, it's been a 10-year journey to this point. I still feel there's loads to come from us. At the moment, we're a well-known broker, which obviously we weren't in the early days. We've got access to the best lenders. We know all the right people. We get information from the top people at the top lenders that tells us about the market. So I know the advice we're giving is coming from the people that are making the decisions. And I'm really excited about that. Keep growing the business. I want to keep making sure we're giving them best advice. I want to go to bed at night being proud of the business that I'm the MD of. And I do feel that way at the moment. And as you get bigger, I want to make sure I keep that feeling, and I want to keep giving the best advice to as many people as we can.